concentrated work split up by holy craps.
Hey everybody, huge surprise, they just confirmed a new Star Wars trilogy is coming from the director of The Last Jedi. So that movie is dropping in a couple weeks. Then Rian Johnson is going to go off and develop a new trilogy with a bunch of new characters. I'll explain, what they've said about it so far. They haven't completely revealed the story, but on top of all that, they confirmed that there's a new live-action Star Wars TV series that'll be debuting at the end of 2019. Probably some of the best news that you could have gotten going into the holidays. So if you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get everything. So if you watch my Game of Thrones videos, you just have to imagine that there will be a point where we have that kind of Star Wars TV series airing, in addition to all the movie stuff that's going on, which is obviously going to be awesome. And I almost forgot to say, there is a Star Wars ticket giveaway going on that I'll explain at the end of the video. But the important details first, the Star Wars trilogy that Rian Johnson is going to develop is going to be separate from the Skywalker saga. So that's Episode 8, Episode 9. Then after that, obviously, there's going to be another saga trilogy. They didn't completely clarify if the new trilogy will be the next saga trilogy or if it will coexist with the next saga trilogy. So Episode 9 is the final film in the current saga. After that, you have Episode 10, 11, 12. They haven't said much about that, but when they were talking about Rian Johnson's trilogy, they said that it would be, exciting new characters that he's been developing. So it sounds like in the timeline, it will take place after Episode 9, but it'll involve a lot of the other characters that you see pop up during the saga films. So because they call it a trilogy, it implies that it'll be a continuous story, so it won't be like 3 separate spin-off films that are disconnected. It'll be like one story with a bunch of different characters that'll just focus on different things in each of the films. A lot of you are asking, what about the Obi-Wan film that's supposed to come after Episode 9? So right now we've had the saga films, and then we've had the anthology films in between them, like Han Solo is the next anthology film. The one after that they said that they're developing, although it's sort of on the back burner, is the Obi-Wan film. They didn't say when that's going to drop. There's no firm release date. It could come after Episode 9. They could push it even later. But it sounds like Rian Johnson's trilogy will fill the spaces of the new anthology films. So like you'll have a saga film, then you'll have a Rian Johnson trilogy film, then you'll have another saga film, so on and so forth. A lot of people are pointing to the idea that they said that they would be doing more stories with Rey, Finn, Poe, the characters of the new films. Like they're using the current saga to transition the Star Wars franchise as a whole between the OG trilogy to the new trilogy, which is Rey, Finn, and Poe. So I'm thinking of the next saga as being like the continuing adventures of those characters. We don't know how they'll be featured in the Rian Johnson trilogy, assuming that that's a completely separate thing. So obviously there's still a whole bunch of questions. It's almost too soon to speculate on what the story might be, only that in the timeline it sounds like it'll take place after the events of Episode 9. So whatever universe-shattering consequences there are as a result of the war between the First Order, Kylo Ren, Rey, Snoke, Luke Skywalker, they'll deal with that in the next saga in this Rian Johnson trilogy. So moving into TV territory, the live-action TV series doesn't have a name yet. They just said that they're developing it for their Disney streaming service. So it's sort of like the DC Comics Titans TV show. Like that's the new thing. Like Disney's developing its own version of Netflix for just Disney-owned content. So that's like Marvel movies, that's Disney movies, that's Pixar movies, and Star Wars movies now. So they want you to sign up for that. So they're developing a bunch of original programming, and part of that is this Star Wars live-action series. So you kind of get there thinking, they're like, okay, why would people pay money for a Disney streaming service when they're already paying money for Netflix? We'll sweeten the deal by giving them a live-action Star Wars TV series they've been asking for a long time. There are a lot of you that probably remember after Revenge of the Sith came out, they were developing a live-action TV series that was going to take place between Episode 3 and Episode 4, and it was going to be called Star Wars Underworld. It was going to be a dark, gritty Star Wars TV series. Everybody got really excited. Lucas hired a bunch of writers. They wrote like 50 plus episodes. Like they have a bunch of finished scripts, but the project didn't move forward. And then they got bought out by Disney, and then it was just completely shelved. So like they literally wrote all the scripts for 50 plus episodes of a live action Star Wars TV series, and they're all sitting on a shelf somewhere. So that doesn't mean that that's what the new TV series is going to be. They'll probably think of something different involving new characters, and it'll be set sometime during the events of the new trilogies. So they haven't really said anything about the story or what it's going to be, but I am assuming for now that like the Rian Johnson trilogy that's going to be happening, it'll also take place in present day. It won't be like Star Wars Rebels, where it's kind of a prequel, but even though it is the final season of Rebels, there will be more animated Star Wars TV shows that'll probably jump around in the timeline. But I think in general, when it comes to new movies, new TV series, they want to focus on new stuff. Like, obviously they've done all kinds of Skywalker stuff in this last saga. They bridged the gap with things like Star Wars Rebels and the Clone Wars. I think the big idea now is for them to push forward with new characters, and that involves just mining stuff from this current saga. So you have the First Order, you have the Resistance characters, there's a bunch of new characters and locations that'll be introduced during The Last Jedi. I'm assuming the same thing will happen again during Episode 9. Like, even though it'll be the end of the trilogy, you'll still run into a bunch of new people. Like, think about it this way. We didn't know what a porg was until a couple months ago when they debuted that first trailer. Like, what the hell is this bird thing? Oh, that's a porg, and now they're everywhere. So just imagine that in the next couple of years, you'll see a bunch more new stuff, and they'll use that as the basis for the new TV series and the new movies. But let me know what you think about all this, and which characters do you want them to focus the Rian Johnson trilogy on? And I'm really curious to see what that TV series looks like, because we have Star Trek Discovery that CBS developed for its streaming service. People had a whole bunch of complaints about that because there's a paywall. But I have a feeling that Disney will have an easier time getting people to sign up for its service because people are already watching all kinds of Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Disney stuff. So all of that right now is on Netflix. All Disney has to do is take it off of Netflix and put it on its own platform. And I think we can assume that most families are going to fork over the $5 a month or whatever it's going to cost. It's a lot harder for people like CBS, where it's like you want Star Trek, but you don't want all the other crap that CBS produces. So it's a lot harder to justify paying that $6 a month or whatever it is just to get Star Trek. But they did not announce a release date for the Rian Johnson movies. They did say that the TV series is expected to drop sometime at the end of 2019, because that's when the Disney streaming service will debut. So just leave all your requests for Star Wars bonus videos in the comments below. There'll be a lot more Last Jedi stuff happening in the next couple of weeks because we're getting closer. So there is a new round of that ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Congratulations to the winner from that last video, the Deadpool video. Fawad, please private message me so I can get your contact details. You can click here to watch the new holiday Deadpool teaser, and you can click here for that brand new Star Wars trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.